What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great weekend. And what I have for you today is how to sumo deadlift. All right, there are a ton of different deadlifts out there, reasons for specific deadlifts, and even within the sumo deadlift itself, there's two purposes. All right, you can do the Olympic lift for the sumo deadlift, or really the physique slash aesthetic purpose for it. And I'll get in a little bit of the differences for that. But really, what we're going to be targeting here are primarily the glutes, hams, quads, and obviously the lower back with the deadlift. There are some other muscle groups that are going to be tagged as well that I'll talk about. But with that being said, let's get into it. Hey, so real quick, I just wanted to talk about the glutes themselves. Whether you're a guy or a girl, the glutes are one of the most important muscles when you start going down to the legs. They connect the spine into the hamstrings, and really when it comes to the hips, for therapy and stuff like that, the glutes are one of the first muscle groups that you target in your road to recovery.
All right, before we get into anything, I just want to let you know that there are a couple different ways that you can do this squat. All right, you can either use a bar, a weight, a kettlebell, a band, even if that's all that you have. Any of these are going to work, and they will work a little bit differently, but all in all, they were going to work the same exact way.
I just want to talk about flexibility real quick. The legs are something that need to be stretched constantly, all over the place. All right. When it comes to this entire exercise, whether it's this, a squat, a deadlift, anything, your legs need to be flexible. Your ankles need to be flexible. If you are going down in your squat or down in your deadlift and you start to feel that falling forward motion, it's because you need to stretch more. You need more flexibility in your ankles, in your hamstrings, in your glutes. If you have a massage gun at home, before you attempt any of these lifts, I urge you to try to run the massage gun over your calf muscles for about a minute. From there, attempt to do the squat or deadlift again, and you will be amazed at how much further you will be able to get down. And that's because of the flexibility in your calf and ankles. Now for your hips and your groin, it's going to be a similar thing. If you start to go down and feel a lot of tightness and not being able to get that hinge motion down, it's because you're just super tight in your glutes and hamstrings. Your hamstrings and your glutes need to be loose in order for you to get down further. Stretching is something that takes a while for your muscles to get used to, and also for your muscles to start to open up. All right? But it's something that you need to regularly do as you do these exercises, not just for these exercises themselves, but for your health in general.
So like I said before, there's going to be two different ways that you can do this workout. The first one that I'm going to talk about is just the aesthetic physique purpose for this workout. What you can see me doing here is finding where my hip extension stops. And that's really where you're going to want to place your feet in order to do this specific lift. Now, after you've found these spots for your feet, you're going to walk up to the bar, place your shins up to the bar, and your toes are going to want to point roughly to around the front of the plates. Just be aware of how your hips feel when your feet are in this position. Now when you bend down, your knees should be directly over your big and second toe. As you prepare to lift, you want to look up, squeeze your scapula together using your lats and your shoulders. While keeping your lower back straight, you're going to drive straight through your heels all the way up. Once you pass your knees is when you can start to hinge backwards with no need to overextend. Once the bar has passed your knees, you're going to want to squeeze your knees together as if you had a ball between them and you were trying to crush it. If done properly, you will feel an incredible amount of burn within your glutes. Now I wanted to take a second to show you a slow motion version from the side. As you can see, I am hyperextending backwards a little bit, and that is because I am doing my glute squeeze at the top. As you can see, it's not over exaggerated, but it is a little bit exaggerated. So here we are on the lift. As you can see, once I get to the top, I start to lower and then drop down once the bar is past my knees, as well as returning up. As soon as the bar comes above my knees is when I start to hinge my body backwards. One of the most important things to make sure that you're not doing during this lift is rounding your back. Whether you're going down or going up, you want to make sure that you're keeping your back straight. And the best way to do that is to continue to look forward or look up. The body will follow the head. So if the head goes down, the body will go down. This here is going to be the Olympic sumo deadlift. You can see my feet are almost as wide as possible. And the goal here is just to get the weight up and then back down. So as you can see here in the comparison of these two videos, the distance traveled is just a little bit shorter than that of the aesthetic version of this, where my feet are a little bit closer. In both versions, you're going to be tagging the same muscles. Just with the Olympic version, you're not going to be getting as much of a glute squeeze. Before I get into hand placement, I just wanted to show you a quick comparison to a regular deadlift. Here you can see that my hands are on the outside of my knees compared to the sumo deadlift, where my hands are on the inside of my knees during the lift.
Hand placement is really going to be your personal preference, as long as they're within the knees, okay? But now, as far as how close and how wide in that specific area they're going to be is going to be completely up to you. Now, you will notice that if you do have them closer, as you pull up and extend at the top, your hands are going to go over and rest on top of your thighs. But if they're out a little bit wider, they're going to go over your thighs to the outside of your thighs. Okay, now if you're wondering, well, should I do an alternating grip? Should I do both hands down? Again, it's up to you. Now, I would highly suggest that if you would prefer to do an alternating grip, that you do switch that grip. Okay, you don't want muscle imbalances, or really you don't want to create any kind of compensation that's going to cause you pain later on. So if you start with your left hand up, you want to switch on the next set to your right hand up. And then a couple sets here and there, you need to put both hands down. And the purpose for that is really to just keep the grip strength in your hands. And that's going to lead into using wraps as well. You can use wraps because we don't want to limit our legs and our back muscles to what our hands can tolerate, because that's a lot weaker. But we also don't want to lose our grip strength. So if you're going to do some sets where you're testing your max limits and you want to use wraps, go right ahead. But if you're training this muscle, if you're training it, I would highly recommend doing a couple sets without wraps so that you continue to train the grip strength.